And we are live, our first ever show of the Endless Multiverse, everybody. Welcome. Welcome.
Welcome.
Clap, clap, clap. Everybody clap along, clap
Clap, clap,
along.
clap. Happy
Yay.
Fridays, everyone.
Happy Friday.
Happy
We are
Friday,
here.
Jordan.
Happy Friday to you, Andy. We have a lot of things to discuss, and we have some breaking news we'll get to in a second. But we
Yes.
want to thank you all for being here for our first ever show. People are already waiting in the comments, waiting for us to start. A few things before we jump in. We're going to be spending a good amount of time on this show covering topics, some old, obviously, because this is the first show, so we got to try to catch up. We have a new topic. We're starting off with the Flash season 9. We're going to get to that, and it's going to be fun. And we're going to get to the end after we get through our topics. We'll let you guys know we're going to do a live question segment. Now, what we are going to be basically doing is this. We're going to go through topics. We're going to have a discussion. We'll be seeing your comments. We may refer to them. But what we're going to do is in terms of what we have a little ticker down there in terms of super chats. If a super chat is sent in that is discussing a topic we're actually currently on, we will pull it up and discuss it. If it's not on topic what we're discussing, we'll pull it up in the live questions segment and read it and answer it then. But we just thank you all for being here at the end of the day and supporting and being a part of this journey. So, Andy, I think we need to get into our first topic because we would start off with just what we've been up to this week, but we have some breaking news. So, what is it,
Yes.
sir?
So after a lot of false narrative on social media, on a lot of fake ass blog sites and certain scoopers,
Mhm.
it has been announced by TV Line that Grant Gustin,
Yes.
the lead of the Flash TV show, is closing in on signing on for a 1-year contract for a ninth season of the Flash. And while Warner Bros. TV and CW has not commented at this point, there are some juicy details that comes with this. So
Oh, yes.
first of all, Grant is signing on for 15 episodes, and he is, so that means that it's going to be a shorter season, or maybe it could, I don't know, theoretically it could be 18 episodes, and maybe like there's 3 episodes where it focuses on other characters. That's not impossible.
Yeah.
And also, it's the, when you've been a lead for this long, it also means that your salary gets bumped up. And so it's being reported that he is going to be making $200,000 per episode. So 200K, and we love that for him. I love that for my boy that I've been watching for almost now 9 years, and so that's well done. While initially their sources have said that deadline sources have said that a multi-year offer was on the table, but now it's for 1 year. But that doesn't necessarily mean that this is going to be the final season. It could be one of those the deals where they will take 1 year at a time. But it's of course worth mentioning that the Flash is definitely closer to its end rather than its beginning. But maybe it will be based on how things go in season 9. Maybe Grant will say, you know what, I can do a 10th one as well. But as of now, The Flash is officially going to be the longest running Arrowverse series on the CW, surpassing Arrow, the one that started it all. So
Yes.
sorry, not sorry, Oliver Queen, but yeah, this is exciting.
It's very exciting. I was quite surprised because I saw something on Instagram first, and I thought, oh, one of those fake rumor nonsense as always on Instagram. But then I went to Twitter, and then there it was that it was being reported on by several different people, including the Flash podcast, that we were getting potentially a season 9 if the deal goes through. And what I think was interesting is the 15 episodes, because I think you're right. Season 7 was 18 episodes, and season 8, I believe, is also 18 episodes. So with season 9, I think they're probably going to do 18 again, and him only being in 15, which means he'll get breaks.
Yeah.
200,000 per episode. That's a pretty big bump. I'm curious to know how much he was making before this, because I don't think they've ever revealed how much they've made per
Oh,
episode before.
they rarely do. So,
Yeah, so that's
but
interesting. And he did not agree to the multi-year. I think that's because he's now a father. Like, it's definitely a game changer in terms of his time.
and the
So
pandemic only 18 episode, but as we have seen, it's definitely working better for their format and so in terms of the graphic novels
yeah,
and interlude episodes. So, but yeah, I am, I everyone, if for anyone who knows me, but for new people that are watching me now on Shane's channel, I have no problem being petty. Like I have no problem
yeah,
dragging people. So I want to say to all the people out there that claimed for years that season 8 is going to be the last one, that Grant wants out and all this fake BS.
Mhm.
Go touch some mother effing grass. Period.
God.
I said what I said, and
Yes, you did.
yeah.
Yes,
So,
you
and
did.
here's the thing: I've seen the YouTubers, I've seen the dumbass sites that have been reporting, that were reporting that they were hearing that season, the season was going to be that people, that this person was leaving, so on. Yeah, fake.
Yeah,
Go touch some grass. So
I think it's interesting, but I'm curious to see what information comes out because they're saying it's not official yet. So we'll probably hear information or official news soon in terms of him signing and hearing of others signing as well. So interesting stuff. So
how do you
that was
feel about this? How do you feel about this?
I've always said I think the Flash needs to last at least for 10 seasons. At least that's my opinion. Season 10 could be a shorter season like Arrow, but I feel like just do a solid 10 run. I feel like that'd be good in my opinion. I mean, because season 7 was rocky, at least for me, but Armageddon started out so strong, and I'm so excited for the rest of season 8. So I feel like they've, at least in my opinion, brought back some momentum. So I hope that I hope that it continues, and then season 9 will probably do the same thing. I mean, the fact that he even talked about before season 9 as well, in terms of him discussing coming back for that as well. So I'm curious to see who else returns in terms of season 9, if it's a go. Because my guess is if he doesn't sign, if it doesn't go through, there's not going to be a season 9. I could be
Well,
wrong, but
as someone who, like, from past years, as a, covering these kind of things, so we usually, when these kind of stories break, it means that they're closing, and like Deadline and TV Line that kind of broke the news. They wouldn't have reported as, they wouldn't have come out with this if they're, because they have good insiders and sourcing and so on. So like they would not have broken this if it wasn't one of those things where it's like, oh, it's like a 50-50. Like, it means that they're closing in. And I think
yeah.
they're gonna, I think they're probably gonna wait till February to announce it, because the season 8 resumes in March. What a great way to start off the, not only with the Flash airing on a new time slot starting on Wednesday, March 9th at 8/7 Central, but also knowing that, hey, these 30 episodes that we have of season 8, they're not the final one. We're getting another season. So
Yeah, so it's not going to feel like it's the end or getting to the end.
yeah, and I always figured it, because I've said on the Flash Pod, and I think I even said it on some of your streams that I've been part of, that if we hadn't heard anything but before Armageddon, before the season started, that probably meant that we were always going to be safe that, as ninth season would have, because if there's something CW is good with, at least with the long running shows, is that they don't really cancel them just out of nowhere. They will usually let them be like, okay, you'll get one more season to kind of wrap things up and so on. And with the Flash being one of their highest rated shows of the whole network, I mean, the Flash has been carrying the CW since 2014. So it's good, it's exciting. I love this show. This show has done so much for my career, and I love watching it every weekend, having connected with the cast and crew the way I have. And it's the Flash, one of my favorite heroes. So I'm excited to see what's next, when we will hear things and so on, and and it could be, who knows, there might be other changes, so we will see.
Maybe. Let's jump into the next topic, sir, because we have some Amazon Studios news in terms of the Lord of the Rings. The Rings
Yes.
of Power is announced. Now, this was, of course, announced forever ago, which
And I'm
was
sorry about the size. My some streamer did not show it up, but yeah,
yeah,
here's
it's not covering. It's all good. But basically, what we got from the information in terms of the showrunners, they were talking about this is a title that we imagine could live on in the spine of a book next to J.R.R. Tolkien's, how you pronounce it, other classics. The Rings of Power unites all the major stories of Middle Earth's Second Age: the forging of the rings, the rise of the Dark Lord Sauron, the epic tale of Numenor, I'm not going to pronounce that, and the last alliance of elves and men. And then it goes on basically to say that we're excited to share the epic story of them all. And I think it's interesting because we have been hearing about this for so long in terms of them spending so much time in pre-production working on this show, and then talking about all the people behind the scenes working on the show. We've heard of some casting, but not a lot of the casting has been officially announced. Like, they've really hidden who's in this show. And my guess is that they found some really talented people that maybe aren't really on the radar of a lot of people in terms of like searching out what they're doing next. So I feel like we're probably going to be introduced to some actors that maybe we're not too familiar with, or maybe a certain set of audiences will be. But the main point is they spent so much money on this IP, and now they're bringing it to television. And what was it, like $1 billion they spent?
Yeah, but
on
like for what
a
would
lot.
be like, for 5 season commitment and so on. So it's
Yeah, they've spent so much money, and they need it to work. They need this series to be successful. I think it will be successful, but I feel at the same time it's a huge gamble. It's the biggest gamble in television, in my personal opinion, because with shows like Game of Thrones that didn't commit like that, they were successful enough to continue to keep putting out new seasons and everything. And in terms of other shows, same thing. But with this, they've committed to 5 seasons and they've spent that amount of money. If they do not recoup their money, it's going to be a terrible loss. But I feel like they're going to. I feel like it's going to be a big hit. At least that's what I think. Because I mean, The Wheel of Time, which was another Amazon Studios production, that like did really well, and it was like competing as like one of the biggest like in most demand shows at the time when it was airing. So I feel like with Lord of the Rings, it's going to get a lot of people's attention, and people are going to probably even like sign on to Amazon Prime Video to see it for the first time in terms of not being a part of it. I mean, there's so many people that use Amazon, but do they really watch Amazon Prime content? Most of them
mm.
probably don't, but I bet a lot of people are going to sign on just for this show. What do you think of this news? Are you excited for this? I mean, I know you freaked out about it when when it was announced.
Yeah, I mean, I will admit that I'm like, I'm not a hardcore Lord of the Rings fan, but I enjoy the stories that those films tell. And for me, I always, think that taking anything that is this kind of a big IP to make it as a TV show, I think is always an exciting idea because then you get more time to spend
Mhm,
with the characters and the world and developing the stories. So, and I with Amazon, yeah, because with the good thing that Amazon has going for them is that Amazon Prime is like pretty much in every country now.
mhm.
Pretty much, I think. So like
Yeah.
this full, and they're gonna be dropping this, the season, the first episode everywhere on the first, on that date in September. So it's gonna have a huge set of eyes.
Mhm,
But I think Lord of the Rings is one of the most beloved IP and franchises that has existed in the fantasy genre. So I think that it's gonna have a success, but what is the success going to be? Is it going to be bigger than Amazon expects? Is it going to be exactly what they are hoping for, or will it be something like it will be successful, but it will be beneath what they're hoping for? So, and the fact that they keep so many, like we know Galadriel is in this, but that's it. So, and
yeah.
I'm interested about that. And,
I'm
and the
I'm
title sequence was cool. It was cool because it's not visual effects. It is like they made it from practical scratch. So that's awesome.
that was really cool because everyone just assumed it was CG because it was so well done. I
Yeah.
think it's interesting because also Amazon has had some surprise hits in terms of Invincible, The Boys. I'm not going to get into my whole issue with The Boys, but those 2 shows alone did so much for Amazon in terms of, its streaming service. So with this, I mean, I feel like it's going to be the next big thing. I feel like it's going to be what Game of Thrones was back in its, height in terms of how anticipated everybody was for Lord of the Rings. Or for Game of Thrones, they'll be for Lord of the Rings now. I feel like it's going to be that big. At least that's what I think. Because I feel like people are waiting, and I'm telling you right now, when the trailer drops, it's going to go crazy in terms of when they actually show footage. Because right now we've only seen that one image, and we've seen the title reveal. We haven't seen any actual footage, and they've really kept it hidden in terms of secret. I mean, like as far as I know, no leaks have came out from this.
Which is
So
refreshing, honestly,
yeah.
because like especially like given it how much we see get leaked in general, it is nice that because like I love to be surprised something which with my job I don't get to be surprised that often, but with this I'm like like they are really really like the security is like it's like Disney level type of
Mhm.
security. So
Yeah. Okay. So you ready to jump into some Batgirl casting?
yes, we had some Batgirl casting that came out, I believe, a couple of days ago last week, and
Yes.
so and I'm hoping not to butcher this name, but Ivory Aquino has been cast to play Alicia Yao in Batgirl, and she is Barbara's best friend, and she's a transgender bartender who was created by Gail Simone and Aryan CF in Batgirl 1 and 4 back in 2011, and she became one of the first major transgender characters in comics, and for a while she dated Barbara's villainous brother James before learning his true nature, and this will be the first time she shows up in any DC media project outside the comics. So I'm getting, maybe it's because we got to react to the costume live on
Yeah.
one of your last streams, but like I'm getting more and more jazz for Batgirl.
I'm excited for it. I feel like it's gonna be pretty interesting to see how well it does on HBO because they have been releasing numbers in terms of how well their content is doing. So I'm curious to know how that's going to do. Um, I do still wish Batgirl was going to be a theatrical run film in terms
Yeah,
of I feel like it deserves it, but I understand the whole side of having exclusive content for HBO Max because you're still trying to build that brand. You're still trying to build that streaming service. And to people asking about Batgirl in DCEU, yes, it's in the new DCEU in terms of the Flash changing the timeline and whatever else. But this is exciting, I think, just for the fact that we're getting this character, but the fact we're hearing more information about casting because we haven't heard, we've heard some casting, of course. You know, we have freaking Firefly. We have Brendan Fraser as Firefly. We have Michael Keaton as Batman. There's some really cool casting. And then we've heard a couple more, but this is really cool that now we're getting a full idea of what this movie is going to be in terms of who they're introducing, who they're bringing in, and who's appearing for the first time from comics to live action or any form of media outside of comics. It's pretty exciting. I'm excited for this.
yeah, and for this character, I think it's again, I always tip my hat for when projects like this try to be more inclusive, and and it's natural because she is part of Barbara's mythology, and also I think it will be nice to kind of see some other DC characters that we don't necessarily know that well because I don't know much about her, but I know that she's as a huge Gail Simone fan that I am, I'm always happy when her creation gets to come to life. So
Mhm.
I'm hoping that it is all. Yeah, I mean, it's a bummer. It's only going to be an HBO Max exclusive. And I know
Mhm.
that a lot of people said, well, Blue Beetle was able to become a theatrical, but the thing is, Blue Beetle has not started shooting yet. So I think
Yeah.
those contracts are easier to rework.
Yeah.
With Batgirl in production, it's like I think it's a headache that Warner Brothers and legal team probably don't want to get into. So
Well, it brings up the whole contract thing about Scarlett Johansson with Black Widow. I mean, that's a whole separate studio situation, but that's the same thing there. With Batgirl, they're already in production. Like I said, the contracts are already signed. You'd have to go back and redo, you know, the budget potentially, salary, all that kind of stuff when you switch over to theatrical. So I feel like at this point they're going to stick with it. But this doesn't mean that maybe Batgirl down the road in terms of a sequel film, if it's successful, can't go to do a theatrical run and then HBO Max. I mean, it would be kind of strange, but I mean, I could see them doing that if it's really successful and they feel like, hey, this could work well in theaters. So they might go that route for a sequel. But as of right now, um, yes. And Anthony, I want to bring this comment up real quick. I am happy that Batgirl's getting her own movie. I love that she is getting her own film. It's very awesome. Um, but this cool. We're just getting more casting information. I'm just excited now for the trailer. We've seen behind the scene photos. I'm ready for that trailer.
yeah, I would say if the movie's coming out like towards like maybe quarter 3 or 4, I would say not that I think there is going to be a San Diego Comic Con in person this year, even though they keep saying it, but like whatever they do in July, I would not be shocked if that's when the trailer drops, whether it's part of Comic Con at home, or just that Warner Bros. Decides to release it
Mhm.
or something.
Okay, awesome. We have some breaking news that happened today.
Yeah,
In terms
so
of,
I'm gonna pass it on to you because I don't follow this much. By my, I think Jordan
oh,
would like this.
it's okay. So we have some information, everybody, on Masters of the Universe. Kyle Allen is cast as Prince Adam. So the live action feature, which is eyeing a summer 2022 start date, so they're definitely going to be taking some more time before they actually get to production, will be directed by the Nee brothers. Not sure how, I hope I pronounced that correctly. From a screenplay they wrote with Shang-Chi scribe David Callahan, Todd Black, Jason Blumenthal, and Steve Tisch will produce, along with Devin Franklin, Robbie Brenner, and Kevin McKeon will oversee this project for Mattel Films. Now, this is interesting because this came out and I was quite surprised about this because we had heard, I think it was 2020, I believe it was, or 2021. We had heard for a while because they had casted Prince Adam He-Man before, and it was going to be a Sony film and be theatrical. And then everything just kept falling apart. We kept hearing about them, some behind the scenes stuff, and they're redoing certain things. But now it makes sense because of Masters of the Universe Revelation. They also have another animated series that is, I think, retelling the origins or doing something with Masters of the Universe. Again, it's more a kiddie version in terms of kid friendly. But with this, they're taking it to Netflix because Netflix is pretty much working with Mattel on that kind of stuff. So it makes sense that it goes over to there, and they've brought in a new actor to play Prince Adam. I feel like this is interesting because the IP was like pretty much dead in the water for a while. And now even though it was divided on the fan base in terms of Masters of Universe Revelation, that was a series that did pretty successful on Netflix. It did get a lot of people's viewers, regardless of how they came out of it. But I feel like Netflix is just trying to find the IP that is not directly owned by certain studios or other streaming services. They're trying to find, we had heard for a while that they have the rights for The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, that whole entire C.S. Lewis library of content, but we haven't heard anything from that since. But with this, they're trying to really, make it a new thing, a new basically universe, if you will, in terms of bringing Masters of Universe to a platform like Netflix. It's the biggest streaming service, so it makes the most sense. It's gonna get the most eyes on this film when it comes out. If it comes out, I'm still kind of iffy because we have heard for a while they were trying to do a version of this. So now they're actually doing it. We'll see. But yeah, so that's pretty much my thoughts on it. I know you're excited for the next topic because it's something that you broke pretty much right on time when it came out.
Well, so for people who follow the Arrowverse, you will remember that several years ago they did a lot of these like tie-in comics. There was Flash season 0, Arrow season 1.5 or 2.5, and so on. And we're going, and Supergirl also had it, but we're now going back to it with a new series called Earth Prime, and it's going to be a 6-issue series that will be starting on April 5th, with issue 1 focusing on Batwoman, and with the cover seen on the left, with the second issue then focusing on Superman and Lois. That will come out. I think it's monthly. So, and issue 1, which is Batwoman, is being written by Kelly Larson. Shout out to my friend Kelly Larson and Natalie Abrams, they both work on Batwoman. And the synopsis for Earth Prime issue 1 says, ever since the tech that created many of Batman's rogues hit the streets, Ryan Wilder has been running herself rag trying to contain the new villains popping up around Gotham City. But when Clayface, making his CW debut, Mud binds himself to a local high school, Batman will need help from an unexpected source to contain this muddy foe. Also, follow how Luke Fox balances his life as a superhero and a boyfriend. Then, issue 2 of which will be Superman Lois, which is written by the show writers Adam Malinger, Jay Jameson, and Andrew Wong, and with art by Tom Grumet and Norm Rapman. In a story spotlighting Clark Kent and Lois Lane's first anniversary, trying to celebrate their marital bliss is never easy when you're a superhero husband and news reporter wife, especially when world-saving and creating hard-hitting stories continue to spoil your plans. Plus, the true origins of the evil Superman from John Henry Irons are finally revealed. And it's also worth noting because I know people have been asking like crazy. Yes, the following issues will then focus on Let Us Tomorrow, The Flash, and Stargirl. And this tie-in canon story has been approved by producers and writers from all the other shows. And so even if we don't always hear it referenced on the TV shows, we know that this will be part of their canon. And subsequent issues are going to have bonus material from various cast members, along with teas that will set up where the story is going next before the big crossover in issue 6. And Jordan, what's your history with the tie-in comics from past years?
Well, Crisis' tie-in comics they had, I feel like were a nice addition to. They were a nice addition to add to what was on the actual crossover event in terms of TV. My only problem is that they basically turned the crossover Crisis tie-in comics into here's all the stuff we couldn't do in live action. And it really frustrated me because it's like I get it, rights and everything, but at the same time, it's very obvious that they only really did it because they wanted to cover stuff they couldn't actually cover in live action, or they couldn't cover during the 5 episodes. So they just created tie-in comics to just add a bunch of craziness that we never see and that we never hear about. Because thing is this, I don't remember the shows ever addressing the tie-in comics, like anything that ever happened. And because it just didn't work out that way. And so for this, it's interesting that this is a canon story. But for me, it's like, I wish this would have been like an actual crossover event, but I get it due to everything happening right now in terms of protocol and everything and restrictions. I just hope it's good. Now, with that image that we had pulled up, I think the Batwoman image looks really cool. I like the design. The Superman and Lois, I'm not really feeling that, but I like the Batwoman. Like, that's a cool shot of Batwoman. That's pretty cool. But the Superman and Lois, that's not Lois. Like, that is
Yeah.
not Lois. That's so strange.
Yeah, I'm gonna, and I don't want to be disrespectful to the artist because I know this. I mean, I can't even draw Stitch
Yeah.
figures, but that bear looks like Tyler, and that
Mhm.
bear that looks like a 20-year-old Lois,
Yeah.
and
It's kind of strange.
yeah, so I don't. It could be one of those, like, maybe it's, how do I put this the right way? That actors are just, some actors maybe don't, they did not give approval of using their likenesses, not so on,
Maybe.
or maybe it was a budget thing. So
I'm not really sure. Before we dive into the next topic, I do want to briefly mention this because it is in general, he's just being really supportive. Endless Multiverse, thank you so much for
what
supporting.
up, Jake? What
Thank
up?
you, Jake. Thank you for supporting the stream and supporting the first show. Thank you very much. So, with that out of the way, we have some Batman, the Batman. We got our first official clip and the theme released. The theme is fantastic. It's over 6 minutes long, and I was quite surprised with it because literally it starts off the first half of it is very like uplifting. Like, because Batman's a brooding character, so why would the theme have this uplifting moment? But I think maybe it's referring to his origins before his parents are murdered, and that's when he was at his happiest. Maybe that's the connection to the music, but regardless, the song is really well done. It's honestly a fantastic theme. Now, the official clip, it shows Bruce at a funeral, and people are referring to it as the mayor that is that we see in the trailers, and he's the one who has his face taped up. No more lies. I think that's what was written on the tape from the Riddler. But the sequence plays out, and it's so strange. It was placed as a ad on YouTube as the whole clip. Like, it's kind of strange. It's a long clip, over 2 minutes long, and it's an ad clip. But
Has that happened before?
it has happened. There are there are trailers, like actual 2.5 minute trailers as ads. But
Oh
as
wow.
a clip like this, I don't think so. I don't think it's ever been like this where they drop a almost 3 minute long clip from a movie as an ad. I'm not really sure, but it was really cool. I think it was a good indication of the tone because Bruce does not say one word in the whole scene. Now, that could be seen as a negative. Oh, the main character doesn't talk. It's all in his facial expressions. It's all in his eyes. Like, you can just see when that guy steps out with that bomb strapped to his chest, he doesn't flinch. He doesn't move. And then when he stares up at Riddler, who knows that guy's coming in, the car's coming in, all that kind of stuff. It was really well done. What'd you think of the clip? I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, I've been ready for the Batman for forever now, and I'm just excited that we have someone as talented as Robert Pattinson playing him. And again, you're totally hitting the spot there, that not a single piece of dialogue, but just his eyes, everything is says it
Intense.
all. Yeah, and I think this could be a very different Batman movie. I think that's good because I've said this before that I feel Batman is satirized. We have too many animations about Batman. I think Batman is all over the place. Yet for some reason, it's like when they have all these other characters they can use, they just keep going to Batman all the time. So, but with this, I feel that Matt Reeves they're doing something new, and I don't think the trailers are giving that away too much. But I feel that I feel that it's obvious that this is probably not going to be the type of movie that people have been expecting when it comes to this kind of character. And the theme, I mean, I was shook if I just like, and I'm like, I have it on my Spotify list, and I just keep replaying it, and it just gets you in a mood. So and that's me. I'm gonna give props to like almost every Batman score we've had with all these live action movies. They are always different from each other. It doesn't just feel like that we're doing the classic. I know everyone loves the Batman animated series / Keaton theme, and I love it too. But just like the character needs to evolve, so does the theme.
Yeah.
And it feels unique to this.
Someone actually put together like back to back to back to back the different themes, like Keaton's theme, then you have Christian Bale, then you have Ben Affleck, and now you have Robert Pattinson, and they're vastly different to each other. Like they're very different approaches to essentially the same, well, not the same exact character, but Bruce Wayne Batman. And I think it all comes down to how the film is basically like how the composer is responding to what they're seeing on screen. So for this, it was like Matt Reeves probably did something to where okay, we got to go this direction. We have to. I'm really curious to see how the music's going to tie in terms of the more uplifting part of the theme, how that ties into the actual film itself. Like, where is it going to be tied into? Like, what exactly are we going to be seeing? So, but I thought it was really well done. And I can't wait for the movie. And I'm glad that they haven't moved it. I'm glad that it looks like they're going to be keeping that March date.
Well, at this point, they kind of have to, pandemic or no pandemic. It's like, because now we're in, unless things really escalate next month in February, we will see what happens. But moving on to our next, which is, we're still in the DC realm. So
are we? No, not our next one is. Oh, it is. I read this wrong. Apologies.
And it's okay. It's okay.
I scroll away at the bottom and I see like, oh, I know what's next. And you're like, DC. I'm like, this is not DC. You are correct.
Well, if everyone's been enjoying Peacemaker and is enjoying, rewatching the Suicide Squad, we're getting another spinoff. And because James Gunn recently talked to Deadline a couple of days ago, and he said the following: "We're working on something else now, another TV show that's connected to that universe. I can't say what show it is, but according to Deadline sources, they hear the project is in the embryonic stages with nothing written or agreement, but HBO Max is said to be high on it based on Gunn's enthusiasm for the idea." So I guess my question for you, Jordan, is out of all the other Suicide Squad characters we have, who would you want to mostly see a spinoff for?
Personally, for me, Ratcatcher 2 or Bloodsport. But because everyone is going to jump to Harley. But I feel like we don't need a Harley series. I feel like we already had Harley Quinn in the Emancipation of Birds of Prey. We already had that film before Suicide Squad. But I feel like they're probably going to find another way to bring Harley back again for another film, I'm assuming. So I feel like it's probably going to be a lesser known character like Ratcatcher 2, who people really like the character, or Bloodsport, if Idris Elba is willing. But that's my two guesses. People are saying King Shark. It'd be really expensive. Like we're talking, that's a high budget right there. So I would.
6 episodes. They could, if they did like instead of 8 or 10, they could do 6 episodes. I think that could be doable because, I think with HBO Max there's the money is there. So I'm not too worried. But I personally would love it for it to be King Shark, but I do think it's probably gonna be Ratcatcher 2 because I think aside from Peacemaker, I think she was one of the characters that was well received. She was great. So I have issues with that film, but I think she was one of the better parts of it.
I'm quite surprised by the film. I feel like the marketing did a pretty good job of hiding some really good moments in that movie. They did a pretty good job with the marketing wise.
Oh goodness gracious! Look what we have here. We have a super from Canada Grabs. What's up? Speaking of Peacemaker, can we just acknowledge the irony that there's finally a chainsaw scene in a DC show and Chainsaw doesn't react to it? We have lost him, ladies and gentlemen. It's my channel now, and it reacts. It's just gonna be Tom Welling content, and I can say I've been watching Peacemaker. It is weird for a lot of reasons. I do enjoy John Cena. Leota is probably my second favorite character of that show, and there's this take on Vigilante is just hilarious. It's crazy, it's insane. It shouldn't work, but yet I just like, oh, poor Adrian. But I think maybe Jordan, do you feel ready to come back and talk about your first takes on Peacemaker? Because I think you've seen it. I think you're secretly watching it. Nope, he's not coming back. Oh, he's back. He's not. He's left. He doesn't want to talk about Peacemaker. And we had a super chat from Jon Snow Rules. Thank you so much, John. Nope, I want a Kite Man TV show on HBO Max. Well, I've been seeing Kite Man being thrown around. Like, I don't know if people are joking or if they're like, like this could work, but in the mind with the mind of James Gunn, who knows? Oh, he's back.
I will say this: Kite Man would be interesting as hell because he was really funny in Harley Quinn. What I've seen of the Harley Quinn show, Kite Man, I don't think it would work on HBO Max. I don't think that no Kite Man show, but I get the joke and thank you for the super chat. But no, I don't think that would work. That's just me. Okay, so now we get to the other side of the pond, if you will, in terms of DC and Marvel, because this is really exciting. I love this. Look at that.
First of all, great concept art from Spider-Man: No Way Home. Oh, by the way, did you know that Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire was in this film?
Oh, I was unaware. I haven't seen the movie yet. What are you talking
Well,
about?
I mean, that ain't my problem. You should have gone and watch that too.
I did not see it opening night.
You are a fake fan, sir. I cannot believe this.
I was under the impression that the film was going to be focusing on Tom Holland as Peter Parker, and then and me as Kite Man from DC Universe. That's what I thought was going to be the thing. Or I could be a version of Jon Snow from Game of Thrones in this movie.
Maybe.
They could have got Kit Harington. They could have got Kit Harington. I mean, he's in the MCU. Get him in this thing. But in all seriousness, all three Spider-Man were in an interview.
I'm screaming.
It was so awesome.
So what? I mean, like, what did you geek out the most about just seeing them together?
I just love the fact that they were all sitting there, and they had very different, of course, appreciations and different interpretations of their characters, and the fact that we've seen more and more in terms of, like, you can see the script now and see how they addressed all three different Spider-Man in terms of the script, like the Webverse Peter and then the Raimiverse Peter, and that so they had to show the differences between who's saying what. But I love the fact that they all pretty much understood this is a level of, like, this film is a level of fan service, of course, but it's much more than that, because it really is about Tom Holland, his version of Peter, finally finishing his origin to become Spider-Man. And I love the fact that Andrew at one point says, I was just waiting to see if Toby was going to agree, because if Toby agrees, I'm doing it. Like, he was just waiting to see what he does, because he loves Toby, because Toby was his Spider-Man.
He stands Toby. And, like, who does it? I mean, I grew up with Toby, but I think Andrew is the one that I relate mostly to, because I watched The Amazing Spider-Man came out like right as I graduated high school, so I was very lost identity wise. So and Andrew just, I relate more to him about it. But yeah, that interview was just I mean, I'm not gonna comment on the interviewer because I think he was a little interesting, but I love the free Spidey just talking to each other and admiring each other, and just the community that they pray together, and just I think one of the biggest takeaways is that Toby is all. This isn't necessarily the end of this chapter, but we're getting to revisit and kind of
because he said that he didn't see it as a closing of the chapter.
Yeah, and I keep thinking, and like, if I can, not to be cynical, but his manager, his agent, they're smart. They know that this film made gangbuster movie in money, and they know that Sony is they're gonna capitalize on the Spider-Verse. So I feel that I don't think we're gonna hear anything for a long while, but I feel that the chance of seeing these three gentlemen together again on the big screen are very, very likely.
Oh yeah, I think it's gonna happen, or at least we'll see a continuation of Andrew, maybe Toby. I don't know, because there's all these people like wanting Spider-Man 4, The Amazing Spider-Man 3. My thing is this: I feel that Toby and Andrew, their run is definitely not done now. They've definitely you don't bring them back for this one-off situation, like, because it was more about having Tom's Peter like basically come full circle, and for him to finally embrace being Spider-Man, not being under Tony, or basically still trying to learn everything. So now I'm not saying Tobey's going to get Spider-Man 4. I'm not saying that Andrew's going to get Amazing Spider-Man 3, but I feel like it's likely they're going to come back in some sort of capacity somewhere down the road, or there's be some sort of continuation with them, whether it's they all three do another movie together, or whether it's Tobey and Andrew somehow cross paths or something. I mean, I don't know, because apparently in the Sony leaks back then, there was a discussion of bringing Tobey back to fight Andrew's version of Peter. Like, they both are going to be Peter Parker fighting each other or something, or some sort of like, it's like they were just throwing ideas at the wall back then. But yeah, so we'll see. I mean, I love what I want is for them to actually be in person and do like a long formed, like hour and a half, like podcast or live thing.
I want an 8 episodes mini documentary series on Disney Plus. Whatever, I just follow them, like, like what were the meetings like,
I would love that. Because when Toby's like, when I sit down with Amy Pascal and Kevin Feige, I'm like, it's crazy to hear them say Kevin Feige, who's running the MCU, and to still think they were in the MCU. Like, they're officially canon. Their movies are canon to the MCU because of their past experiences, and they brought that into the movies. It was really good. But yeah. Oh, okay. I like this comment. I bet 3 will reunite in Secret Wars. I think you are correct. I think Secret Wars is going to be where we'll see a lot of returning faces. Multiverse of Madness, people have been saying about Andrew or Tobey showing up. I think Tobey's more likely because Sam Raimi, of course, directing that movie. But I think you're right. Secret Wars is going to be a massive movie. But thank you for the super chat.
Yeah, thank you for the super chat, Webhead. And well, jumping back to the DC universe, and so this, if you haven't seen this week's Superman Lois, big spoiler about to drop. But please don't. So we finally spoilers from episode 3. Shane's reaction is up on the channel, so go watch it if you haven't already. But we finally got to see who was underneath the suit, and this doesn't look like Doomsday. That's a very sexy Doomsday, though, if that is Doomsday. But it's not Doomsday. It is Bizarro.
Well, it's Doomsday.
Yeah, like Daddy got slimmed and fit. Then
when he went to the fortress and took off his suit, he said, "I'm Doomsday," and then it cut to the logo. Remember?
Totally, and it said Gracie backwards.
Gracie Day.
So, but yeah, I
saying for so long it wasn't Doomsday. I've been saying, guys, it's a twist. It's not Doomsday. But they did trick us, because literally he's in a containment suit just like first appearance Doomsday. They knew what they were doing. They knew everybody was going to say it's Doomsday. They knew.
I felt that, like, the first episode, I felt like this could definitely be Doomsday because of just the way you set things up. But then when we started seeing like the shadow and that there was like a more of a suit, I'm like, that dude is too tiny to be Doomsday. It has to be something else. But I think, in my opinion, I think that this is kind of like the close we may get to. Like, they're definitely portraying Bizarro almost as like a type of Doomsday. Because I will say one thing, because doing Doomsday on television is definitely not cheap. And this is a show that is already in season 2, and we know that the longer it goes on, and because doing Doomsday season 2, I always felt like that was a risky move. Like, we're already, like, for people who were like, oh, they already killed off Superman and BVS, that's too early. But yet they were like, oh my god, Doomsday on Superman Lois is amazing. I do voice that I'm crazy, but it was just disappointing. I'm like, okay, I guess I can get behind this, but now that we're not doing Doomsday, I'm kind of relieved, because I think if more than anything, because there's no way that this show, whether it was in season 1 or 2 of Doomsday VFX, I think that what the likely thing they will do is that the death of Superman will be saved as a future Arrowverse crossover. Once we start getting back to be able to film bigger productions and so on, and also once we got a little more established into this Superman and Lois Lane, I think we're gonna have that kind of big crossover with whatever shows are still on at that point. They will adapt that storyline where, like, it will be 4 episodes, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 episodes, whatever, and that will be cheaper to do as opposed to 15 episodes or 12.
Here's what I'll say about that. I think that they would have to. You can't call the crossover the death of Superman. You have to call it something else, because if you call it the death of Superman, everybody knows what's happening. So I think what they would probably do is find another title and surprise us with Doomsday at the end of the crossover, and maybe have it tie into whatever's happening in the storyline in terms of who the actual villain is. But if you announce we're doing the death of Superman, we're doing that as a crossover, everybody knows that Superman's going to die. So you have to surprise us. But it's a good point about the fact that they wouldn't have the budget to do Doomsday for 15 episodes of Superman Lois or around there. They just wouldn't have the budget. It makes sense. And even Tyler mentioned how the makeup and stuff when they were doing, the Bizarro look, it's like half practical, half CG in post.
Yeah, and that's not cheap. That's not cheap either.
And I think about too, and also the CG when they fought, like it was great, like with flying in the air. It was so good.
And John Henry Irons like I said, my king, John Henry Irons, jumping in the air and just being like, Iron Man, I will show you off, and just suits up on my Tony Stark, you better grab those pearls and clutch them, you dead boy, because that was phenomenal.
I think too, Bat, on your idea of a crossover, I think that would work because in Armageddon we had Despero, and they did a pretty good job with that.
That was great.
He doesn't have to be in the whole thing. He could literally be a big surprise in the back half of the last episode. There's a big fight, and then Superman dies. Or maybe in the middle of the crossover, Doomsday shows up.
And you know what they could do? Let's say there's 4 episodes. Because Death and Return, it could mean that he's only in 2 of them, and then we kind of jump forward a little bit in time and kind of that. I don't know if they would do that, but this would be the perfect opportunity for the Arrowverse to do a major flash forward.
Oh.
And like they can do some different things and kind of change up the status quo. I think that would be amazing. And then in their the return part, we see that we have Eradicator, we have a Steel. Jordan will be their Superboy because I don't think we're ever gonna see Connor Kent on the show. Or maybe we will, but I don't. As long as Tyna's on, I don't think that's gonna happen. But and Raina's Superman story would be interesting to see how they would do it in this context. So or maybe they just call it Arrowverse Colin Doomsday. They could do it like that instead of calling it the Return.
Yeah, and I'm thinking too, like if they weren't to do a crossover, I feel like Doomsday would be a good villain for maybe season 3 or 4. Like you said, we have to give more time to these characters. Like killing, if it was Doomsday in season 2, if it wasn't Bizarro, it was Doomsday. That I think it's too quick. It's too fast because it's a major event that will drastically change the world.
Everything.
Yeah, so I feel like just now it's too soon. But if they were to pull a Doomsday and it was Doomsday instead of Bizarro, I would have trust them to do something, figure it out. But I just feel right now Jordan is not ready to take on the mantle as Superboy. He's not ready.
Did you hear what he said? He's ready to marry Sarah, for God's sake. Yeah,
he's a kid. He's 15. And the fact too, he did get some punches on Talro, but Talro didn't really do anything much to take him down. So Jordan is not. I think Jordan needs to train. Once he starts training and he actually starts wearing a suit or something and being Superboy, then I can definitely see Doomsday is coming soon because they're setting that up, I would think, at that point.
Yeah. And if anything, I think like if, let's say, since we were talking about the Flash earlier, so let's say if the show goes on for a 10th season, that by that point Superman would be in season 4. So it would line up. They could do that because I think they would definitely want. Like I think CW knows that having Tyler and Grant together would bring in a lot of people, and then maybe that's a way to get in Melissa in and so on, for whatever and so on. And then maybe that's again they can slowly build up to it. But at the same time, I won't be disappointed if we never see Doomsday, because I have to give props to Superman Lois, the writers, that they're taking some of these characters and like they're also giving something different every season by like Talro. Like first of all, I think that's the first time in a very long time that we've had an original villain as the big bad for a season. And
he's Morgan Edge.
Yeah, he's Morgan. Yeah, but they're adding another layer to him.
Yeah, he's Talro, and then he's also the Eradicator. So it's like they just kept adding twist upon twist. And I feel like that's what's going to happen this season. There's going to be more twists coming. This isn't just the first. There's going to be multiple layers because Morgan Edge was around for a while, and then they waited till the back half to go, oh, by the way, he's Talro. Oh, wait, by the way, he's also the Eradicator. There was so much. Oh, and also I have the soul or whatever of Zod. I'm going to put into your head, Clark. Yeah, a lot of twists. So I feel like this is going to be there's so much coming. So the next topic, which I feel like is a really cool discussion that you brought this up, and I have to give a round of applause to Andy because this is a great idea. We are discussing this topic, but we're actually going to be playing a little bit of not a game, but basically us basically giving our predictions on something. So, Justice, you, which is
I can't.
why you have that image, but that makes sense. So, Justice, you, besides the fact that he's God Diggle Speed,
Yeah.
Justice You is going to be potentially a show. It's not confirmed official. We know they're developing it, and we know that David Ramsey, of course, Diggle there. You see, there is God Diggle Speed. If the show does go to pilot, he will direct the pilot. Justice You, we know that the apparent thing is Diggle is going to be training 5 young superheroes. So we, both me, Chainsaw Reacts, and Andy have come up with our 5 heroes we think maybe the 5 heroes that he'll be training in some sort of capacity in this show. My guess is that they're going to be kind of like all kind of co-leads in a sense, or like these 5 heroes are going to be more of like the focus than Diggle maybe. Like I feel like Diggle is going to be, of course, a main character, but he's probably not going to be like in every single episode, or he's probably not going to be like the main focus. It's going to be kind of focusing on these 5 working together or whatever. So let's get into these 5. So I have my 5 here.
I have my. Do we want to? Do you want to say one and then say why, and then I say one, and then kind of go back and forth?
I think we should go through our 5, and
Okay.
then
well, who gets to start? Do we? Wait, you know what? Rock,
actually,
paper, scissors.
Okay, let's do the 1-1. Let's do the 1-1. I think that's a good idea because we'll see if we match.
Okay.
And if we match, if I say one that you have, don't say it, and then when you say like, oh, okay, so we match there, and so we'll go back to that. So my first pick is Bumblebee. Interesting character. I think she's a great character in the comics. The fact that we've actually not had Bumblebee in live action, I think it would be cool to have that type of character on the show. But that's just me personally. But I think Bumblebee was a good choice. What is your first choice, sir?
The Wonder Twins, because I think that if you've read the Wonder Comics, that Wonder Comics is an imprint by DC that focuses on more of the younger demographic. That's where also Naomi is part of, and they kind of remodernized the Wonder Twins. And I think that following that little setup in Crisis, I think it's best that we follow up on it. And I think that I would love to see the Wonder Twins on a weekly basis. And I think these are characters that I don't think necessarily are going to be saved for movies or any major HBO Max property. And also, I don't think their powers would be that complicated in terms of money and finance and VFX and so on. And also, I would also recommend everyone to go watch the Smallville season 9 episode 8 called Idol, where we do see the Wonder Twins on Smallville, kind of giving you a little idea what could they look like in live action, what could they be like in live action. Because I don't know, there was a lot of people when that news came out that the Wonder Twins were coming to Smallville, everyone was groaning like, Wonder Twins on Smallville, they're the lamest people ever. And that's probably what they sound like. I just like to give everyone, a snobby accent. And I think that would love to see Gleek on a regular basis too, and since we had that little tease. And it just feels natural that because the CW is focusing a lot right now on younger heroes, Stargirl, Naomi, and the boys on Superman Lois. We're going to see Bart and Nora coming back. And by the way, this list is going to be based on heroes that we haven't seen on the show. So we're not going to be like, oh, we're going to take Jordan from Superman Lois and put on there. So because that's not going to happen.
So that was your first 2, basically. That was your first 2.
Yes, So what is your next choice?
Next is Rocket, who has been on Young Justice. I feel like that'd be a really cool character. I like her abilities, and I was thinking the same thing. We were saying earlier, or our minds are kind of connected in a sense.
No, I said we share one brain cell.
I was thinking too, like literally, I wanted to try to find characters that have not really been that prominent in live action, or they've never been in live action. Because my next pick after Rocket has definitely not been in live action ever, and I don't think she's ever been in anything outside of comics. So. But yeah, I wanted to pick Rocket. I really like the design of the character, and I feel like it'd be a nice, change of pace in terms of her personality on the team. Because I feel like what they're probably going to do is probably have a wide variety of personalities a part of these 5. So I feel like that's probably going to be, at least that'd be a good addition. But we'll see how they handle it. But what is your next pick?
My next pick is we're gonna go back to a little bit of the Wonder Girl, Yara Flor. I think that we know that there was a show that they were trying to do, but like Green and the Canaries and Painkiller, Cedar was just like, nah, we're good. No, we don't know what happened. Probably the pandemic or something. But I think that bringing Yara Flor as part of an ensemble series is probably easier to do than making a whole separate show, because with the Amazonian mythology, so it could have been maybe complicated to do production wise and practically and so on. And I don't know if Vancouver does necessarily have. If you guys go read some of the early Wonder Girl comics that came out, it doesn't feel like something I could see easily in Vancouver, but yeah, but making her part of this, because I feel that they're definitely going to gear up and to do more things with Yara, and since we have Donna Troy on Titans, I think that this would be natural to bring her in. And and here's the thing: I always try to when it comes to shows like this and we're like kind of fan casting or speculating with, I do always try to be inclusive, and I know Jordan does too. So because I don't want the Arrowverse is evolving, we're in a new state of the Arrowverse, and we need to see the world as it is today. And I think Yara would be, she's a fun character. I think she would be a great fit for this show.
Mm-hmm. I honestly didn't even think about that. That's a good pick.
Who is the next female that you're talking about?
Fast Track. This character from the comics. She didn't get a lot of attention about her being a speedster because Godspeed got all of the headlines when they created Godspeed. But she was struck by lightning just like Barry Allen. And at one point, she actually dated Barry at one point in the comics. But
you want to bring in Mina Dwan. Okay. I see you. I see
I was
you.
To powers. My main thing was powers because she's a speedster. We've had, of course, a number of speedsters throughout the different iterations of the Arrowverse in terms of Flash. We had Kid Flash, we had Nora, we had Bart, and we had Jesse Quick, we had Reverse Flash. You got all these reverse. I wanted to find someone who has definitely a very different looking costume than what we've seen before on speedsters. A lot of speedsters on the Arrowverse, they have kind of the same looking costume besides color shifts and changes. But I like her design in terms of in the comics. So I feel like that'd be a nice addition to switch up. But
plus,
yeah,
they've already set her up, so we know she's on Earth Prime.
Mm-hmm. So I feel like that'd be a good choice. So what is your next pick?
My next pick, yeah, I didn't even think of Mina, but yeah, I was, because they mentioned her in season 7 as like I know she's offer doctor, but there's no reason why she could be like a young genius or something. But my next pick is a Dr. Fate. But no, it's definitely not. Yeah, but not Kent Nelson, because that man ain't young and he ain't going to a university anytime soon. But and I'm just gonna bring up the pronunciation because I'm horrible with name. Khalid Nazur, the Middle Eastern Dr. Fate, and I think I have to be very careful what I say here because I don't want to get killed. I think it's just very interesting that we're getting, we're getting Ken Nelson in the DCU, but we're also, if you guys have been watching Young Justice season 4, which is amazing, go watch on HBO Max and then also watch his reactions. And
Yes.
Khalid is, I feel like it's something that they could easily adapt to live action. And I know they've been trying to do Dr. Fate on TV in various forms and so on without saying too much. And I think this would be another great Middle Eastern, and also he's Muslim, to bring into the Arrowverse. And and I think given that he's always depicted as very young, that he's like on Jungle, he's studying and so on, he's a college student. I think it would be very cool to see him come in and also see. And I think we're now, given the kind of VFX companies they work with, it would be cool to see what they would do with Dr. Fate's magic powers. So
yeah, that would be awesome. That's a good pick. I didn't even think about that. But they literally did that in Young Justice. They literally just did that in Young Justice.
So who's your fourth? I know this is the fifth and final one, right?
Fourth pick.
Yeah. Because my Wonder Twins, they were combined as two. So okay.
It's my final because I picked Wonder Twins as well. Like that's why I said, I picked Wonder Twins because the Gleek reference, but my main purpose was their characters. Like I feel like they've been short, staffed in the comics as of late, but they were very popular back when they were introduced. And I feel like with the whole Gleek, like you don't reference Gleek at the end of Crisis, and you don't follow up on that with some sort of something. I don't know if they had plans back then for the Wonder Twins, and then when the pandemic,
the world died.
Yeah, I feel like that may have changed some of their decision making. I don't know, but I think that would have been a really cool. It'd be a really cool thing. So we have the Wonder Twins, and we have a speedster. We have Rocket in terms of the speedster, Fast Track, and then Bumblebee. So mostly females on my side, but I feel like it would have been an interesting, because Diggle, I think, is going to be a part of the show in a big way. Just probably not the main focus per se. Because it sounds like to me, he's going to be the recognition in terms of the Arrowverse, in terms of here's Diggle from Arrow and all these other shows he's popping up on. But I think it's going to be more focused on the actual 5 young heroes. That's probably going to be the main focus. But what is your it'd be your final pick. It's your final pick because you said Wonder Twins. So.
Yes. So, this goes back a little while, but I'm still sticking to see, kind of like going on what Young Justice has been doing. But this does kind of tie in a little bit to something CW was trying to do several years ago. Tracy 13. A long while ago in a galaxy far, far away. No, I'm kidding. And they were trying to develop a Doctor 13 series with this character. Elizabeth Banks, out of all people, was gonna executive produce the show, and the show was gonna focus on Tracy 13 and her father Terrence 13. It was called Project 13, but the show never happened. It never came to fruition after 2017. But I think that given that their dynamic on Young Justice, I think these would because one, I will say this: I love the magical side of the DC universe, and I feel that we got so much from Constantine, and we're not seeing a lot of magic in the Arrowverse, and I would love it for them to do it more regularly. And I think these two together would be a very interesting dynamic. Because I never followed Tracy at all until I saw Young Justice. I'm like, I like her. I really want to see what they could do with her. And again, it does. Again, I think it's one of those characters like they wouldn't really do anything with her in the movie, sadly. Or it would be one of the things where like they could probably have 2 versions of her, but she's probably a supporting character in a film franchise. But Tracy 13 is my final choice.
There you go. I think
now,
we're both.
Jordan, what is your final choice?
I don't have a final choice. I get my 5.
Okay, you already. Okay, so
2, Fast Track, Bumblebee, and then Rocket.
Okay. Yeah,
that threw it off because when you're like Wonder Twins, I'm like, that's not.
Yeah.
That's.
I don't know what 1 + 1 is. I think it's 11.
What is math? What is math?
Yeah. What is math?
We have 2 final topics to get to in terms of us individually talking about a particular topic each. So I'm going to be jumping into my brief thoughts about Book of Boba Fett. Now, straight to the point, if you haven't seen the most recent episode of Book of Boba Fett, I highly recommend you not watching or muting this portion of the show. But straight to the point is this. The show has been a roller coaster. It's not been as good as it could be. I definitely have enjoyed, for the most part, what the show's doing. I just feel like at certain points they're focusing on stuff that maybe doesn't need to be that focused on. I think he is a Mandalorian, but Boba, he talks too much in this show. And actually, the actor himself has openly admitted that he tried to get Ming-Na Wen to have more lines because he feels like Boba would be more interesting if he didn't speak as much. And it's really unfortunate that the actual most recent episode 5, which was the Return of the Mandalorian, which was 99% focused on Din, the Mandalorian from the Mandalorian show. Basically, it was the Mandalorian season 3 premiere. It's basically setting up that season. And we got Fennec at the end, of course, Ming-Na Wen, but it's unfortunate that the best episode so far, at least for pretty much everybody that's been talking about the show, is the one that the one that Boba's not in is the best one so far. And that's unfortunate. I think the show is going to definitely pick up in the last 2 episodes because of what they're building up to. But I think what they're doing, the unfortunate part is when they're building up to really cool stuff, it's not landing because the buildup is interesting. Like, oh, it's going to pay off. But the buildup it could have been better because I feel like they're focusing too much on the past stuff because they follow 2 different timelines. And I feel like it's not necessary in a sense. Some of it's cool. But ultimately, it's like, I want to see what Boba's doing now, not, in the past when he gets out of the Sarlacc pit. At a certain point, we know. So that's kind of an issue for me personally. But overall, I feel like the show, it has its highs, has its lows, and it's just the fact that the best episode to a lot of people's eyes is the one he's not in at all. It's all focused on Mando. But I think what it also sets up us like being really excited for The Mandalorian season 3 because I think we've all pretty much loved that show. Some stuff could have been better, but the show overall is fantastic. So the setup they did was really well done in terms of where they may be taking the third season of the show. They did a lot of setup with that. But so yeah, that's my overall thoughts so far in terms of the book of Boba Fett.
Well, I'm gonna, and then it's my turn, and because I have not been watching Boba Fett, and I haven't watched Mandalorian. I've been kind of taking a break from the Star Wars universe, but at some point we'll jump back on that. But I kind of want to do a little check in with Naomi. Because the first 3 episodes has now aired on the CW. It airs on Tuesday at 9 Central, right after Super Lois. It's great DTV lineup, but we're 3 episodes in now, and I will say this, because I've said it on the Naomi podcast that I produce on the TC podcast network that, I Naomi is a very new character. I know a lot of people do not know of her, haven't followed her comic in the DC universe, but I need more people to watch this show, and I think that there's so many people missing out on this great adventure they're doing. Yes, it is. I would say it's a little bit of a smaller DC show, but I think it's in their benefit, because one of the best things they've done so far is that they're really, because we don't really see that. So sometimes we see it good done well, sometimes we don't. But the way they're telling mysteries in the show is very intriguing, because it could have been so easy for them to just do exactly what the season 1 comic did. It's literally called Naomi season 1. It's part of the Wonder Comics imprint as well. Go check it out. It's amazing, by Brian Michael Bendis, and we're getting a season 2 later this year. But I'm just loving it. It's very, if you feel insecure about your age, you're definitely gonna feel like, oh my god, they make me feel so old. Because like this week they had like college visits, and like the college essays focus. I'm like, I could just feel myself going grayer and grayer. So what can you do? But I'm loving this type of take on the DC universe, this kind of outer corner of the DC universe. And yes, I get it. It's not in the same Earth as that Arrowverse, but hey, people are watching Stargirl and getting hyped for that. So, and I think that people should give Naomi a big go. And I know there's a break coming up after, I think, next week's episode. So I would say go binge watch those 4 first episodes and get, like, so you can see back to back. And it's a short season as well. So, but I'm giving thumbs up to CW, because we don't need 22 episodes. We don't. And it's old and doesn't need anymore. But I would say really go check out Naomi. And I think there's could be some twists and surprises in terms of, like, because it is a show really rooted in the concept of multiverse, and I don't think it's, Jordan, I know you haven't seen it, but this, I don't think it's a big spoiler. But in this universe, comic book characters are essentially, these superheroes are essentially comic book characters, but there seems to be possibly something where, like, they are actually real, but we haven't really seen them.
Okay.
And but yeah, so I say everyone go watch Naomi. It's also from the great Ava DuVernay, who I'm still devastated we didn't get New Gods, but I'm happy that she's getting to bring her her voice and her talent to the DC universe for Naomi. So I can't recommend it enough.
Well, there you go. I mean, I definitely want to check it out when I can, for sure, because it looks pretty interesting. And the trailers, I mean, it's like, okay, looks pretty. I mean, then again, like, there are certain things, like, the trailer wise, like, trailers will be like promoting shows, and I'm like, But then when you actually see the thing, it's very different. And so I feel like that's probably going to be the thing, is that it's probably going to surprise me. At least I hope so. So, guys, we are now on to the live questions time.
But we have a super chat first from Aiden. Thank you, Aiden, so much. I think Justice You will be about Diggle leading new heroes like Yara Flor, Tracy 13, maybe other characters who had planned shows that were scrapped. I feel I feel like it wouldn't be difficult for them to do that. Like, I mean, we've seen characters before that, like, they tried to do years ago, and then nothing happened, and suddenly they do get turned into something in live action. And because we're in a different medium now, we have HBO Max, we have the way just the cinematic universe is doing its thing and so on, and the CW has also gone into a new phase since Crisis. So but thank you for your super chat and your question, your comment. That was awesome.
I think too, also the idea of, like, Yara Flor, Tracy 13, and then maybe bringing in, like, the Wonder Twins, and then maybe rounding out with maybe, like, Fast Track a Speedster. That'd be interesting, because, like, the idea of, like, Yara Flor, Tracy 13, like, these characters were going to get their own shows, and now they're not. they could like basically rework that into the series.
So I know we've had a lot of questions. Shall we like kind of go back a little bit to begin and see what people have been asking?
Sure, yeah, let's do that. So I know people are talking about. I like this comment from Anthony here about the Amazing Spider-Man 3. Would you want one? Yeah, I would like it. I feel like they would have to really alter it because what they were doing with Amazing Spider-Man 2 was doing a lot of setup for future films. And since we've had so much time past that you would have to literally rework that entirely. It would have to be something different.
Charlie Greer asked earlier, how would you both feel if season 9 was the last, or do you think season 10 is possible if Grant fills up to it?
I think
it depends on what they do in season 9.
I think it's possible. I think the thing is going to be what's telling is this: he didn't sign a multi-year contract. He only opted for the 1-year extension. But maybe that's because the rest of the cast are not potentially looking at multi-year deals, only looking at 1-year extensions. So maybe that's why he didn't sign multi, because he's not sure what's going to happen. And maybe he doesn't know where his life's going to be at in another year. He might want to, do something else. Literally, there's been plenty of times he signs on for a project to do in the summer when they're on break, and then it falls apart because they have to move scheduling and move shoot dates, and he can't make it because he has to go back to Flash. So I feel like at a certain point, he's going to want to step away from Flash and actually focus on film projects or other things where he's not tied down to a full season. Now, with them shooting only 18 episodes versus the vast amount they had before, that probably helps a little bit in terms of the schedule, in terms of him only signing on for 15, so he has more of a break. But that's not to go do something else. It's probably for him to just take a break.
Yeah, and like we said before, it's not a guarantee that 8 they would still do 8. I think that was just a theory. But like I could like with characters like Excess and Impulse and also even Jake Aerosol, they could do episodes where like they are kind of focused for an episode 2. But I also think that, again, it's very much all these studios and networks are looking at the pandemic and like what's happening right now, because they have to take care of all the hardworking crew and actors and so on that work on these sets for hours and hours and hours almost every 10, at least 10 months of the year. So doing 15 episodes, and again, we've talked about this before, Jordan, that 15 episodes is a great format. Super Lois is doing 15. Legends is doing 13, Batman's doing 13. And again, it's like I think that's why I've been enjoying the Arrowverse a little bit more this season,
because they're not to like extend storylines as much.
Oh my goodness, Julian goes, so Chester must be getting $350K per episode. I don't. Oh, good lord.
I don't think so, but we have another super chat. I'll get to it in 1 second because I do want to answer this question from Jon Snow Rules. It's not confirmed we're getting 15 episodes only in season 9 of The Flash.
His contract would be.
Grant Gustin is only contracted to be in 15 of season 9. My guess is it'll be 18, like they've done the past 2 years with season 7, 18. Season 8 has 18. I feel like what they're doing is they're giving him more of a break. Now, I think what they could do is season 9, they could literally have season 9 have more focus on maybe Bart and Nora returning again, and they're kind of because I think when we go back from break, Bart and Nora are the focus. Like there's no Grant, so I feel like maybe
he's in it, but like he's in it, but like I don't think he's gonna be in it a lot.
I
think
there was more focus on kids, and so they're kind of taking they're taking the weight of carrying the show for a bit while Grant's probably on a break.
Let's see.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for supporting the show. If Flash ends around season 8 or 9, which it won't be season 8, would you want the main antagonist to be other than Thawne? Personally, no. When they end the show, it needs to be Reverse Flash again. That's just my personal preference, because I've always said, and I feel like a broken record, the Flash starts with Reverse Flash, you end it with Reverse Flash. It has to be a full circle situation. You have to end with seeing our Barry we've been following be the one to chase Reverse Flash to the past to when his mother dies. We haven't seen from that Barry's perspective yet, and that's what we need to get to. We need to get to that point where Reverse Flash decides to run back, and Barry knows this is going to happen. So he tries to plan it all out, because eventually they're going to have to build up to this point where he knows eventually Reverse Flash is going to run back in time, and he has to try to stop it. And ultimately he realizes no matter what he does, he cannot prevent it, because he's already tried it before Flashpoint happened. he has to realize at a certain point he has to save himself. He can't save his mother. It's unfortunate. It's going to be so heartbreaking, but that's got to be the final episode of the show, no matter when the season is.
Yeah, I think that at least, like, I think Fawn will be, because I still think we're going to do graphic novels next. I mean, Eric is definitely going to do graphic novels, which I enjoy, and I think that the final graphic novel it's going to be something related to Fawn. Like, I think they will bring out all, like, I think they would pull out all, the things that they haven't done with Fawn yet in that final graphic novel. So, and let's see, Eric sees. Sorry.
What was your one you clicked on?
I clicked on Eric Z. He says, "I guess WB and HBO are really happy with the reigns with shows like Succession and Euphoria and even Peacemaker." James gonna say he's working on the second spin-off. I'm thinking Ratcatcher. Yeah, that's what we think too.
Yeah, I was thinking if Idris Elba's up for it.
Yeah.
The comment I clicked on was Martin here because are you guys familiar with YouTuber named Chainsaw Reacts? I'm not familiar with him. I'm familiar with Reacts Chainsaw. He's pretty cool.
Who the hell is this person they're talking about?
I think he's some fake reactor who fakes. I heard that he was running around saying season 8 of The Flash was the last season. That's what I heard.
I should go after him then. Sure. Do you want to be the one that scrolls through so that we don't click on episodes at the same on the questions at the same time?
I'm actually at the more recent ones because because I think this is an interesting question that I think we should address. There's actually two, but I want to address this one first. Daniel Panabaker she's now pregnant again. Yes. I don't think she's going to leave the show, though. I could be wrong because now this is 2 kids. But Carlos, aka Cisco, he is now gone. So
I think she's leaving. I think there's a chance she could be leaving. I'm not based on anything that I know, anything I've heard, and so. But I think it's that. I think given that also that Ronnie is coming back in some capacity. I don't know how he's coming back, and so it wouldn't shock me if they somehow pull a twist that he's actually alive and they actually get to have like a happy ending or whatnot. But or it could be that she will come back as a again. I mean, there's nothing saying that she won't be back for season 9, but I think it's interesting, but I do think we're probably going to see less of Caitlin later this season because she just revealed that she's I think a few months ahead of her pregnancy. So who knows?
So the other one I thought was really cool was this: get a 3-episode origin arc for Thawne. I think this would be interesting. Now, I don't think the 3 episodes that he's potentially going to be missing out on because of the contract are going to be back to back to back like that. I could be wrong though, but I feel like it's going to be short breaks here and there where one episode early on he's not going to be around, and then somewhere in the middle, then somewhere towards it, or it could be a part of an arc, a graphic novel that Eric creates. Like he knows ahead of time there's 3 episodes. Grant's not in if we're having 18, so they could structure it as a in between an arc where literally Grant is not around. Maybe they could.
I could see potentially that like let's say if we have like another Armageddon type of event, and then when we come back, they do those 3 episodes with Fawn. Like if that's how they would do something with Fawn, because I feel confident the show is going to give us an origin story for Fawn, and then we will see where he comes from and so on. I do think it's possible. I think people these writers and Eric, they know that we love Air Fawn and we love Reverse Flash. So I think it's just wait and see for now.
I feel like it would tie in more to if they were to end the show, which I feel like they will with Reverse Flash. You need a lot more setup. I mean, we have a lot of it, but his origin stuff, it would kind of tie in more to his reasoning to go back in time to do what he does.
Yeah.
We got some good questions coming in. We really do.
Yeah. Thank everyone who's tuning in for the.
Thank you everybody for supporting our first show, The Endless Multiverse, and thank you to everybody who has super chatted so far just to help support the show to keep going. It's been great. We're trying to find a rhythm, so understand. But I feel like this is overall has done pretty good so far.
Yeah.
I think we'll be on for a few extra minutes, guys. So send in your questions and. We're going to be wrapping this thing up in a little bit, but I do want to get to this because I think this has been rumored quite a bit. Do you think the Joker will show up at the end of the Batman? I don't know. If he does, I think it's going to be really interesting, but I feel like Matt Reeves may not want to pull that card out just yet. Joker. I don't think he's going to want to do that in the first film. I could be wrong, but there's been a lot of rumors of like literally like they're gonna have a whole Arkham thing with teasing villains that we could see. What do you think? Do you think we'll see the Joker, or do you think they're gonna be well? I mean, Joker as in they may like, in any form of tease, whether it's showing him, not showing him, but saying something that definitely is a reference to Joker. Do you think they'll do it in the first movie? Think it through. He's having to really think.
I can't talk about it.
Damn. There you go, people. He can't talk about it. That's unfortunate. It's all good, though. It's all good. He can't talk about it.
What's up, Comic TV says, hey, just got here. Haven't been around sadly due to high school. How are you both? Well, first of all, being in school is always great. So stay in school. Hope everything is going well. But we're great. We're starting this new show called Endless Multiverse, and we'll be talking about it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was saying thank you for being here for the first one, Comic TV.
Yeah. And yeah, stay in school, do your homeworks, do your exams, don't cheat, and just be cool.
Yeah. So Jon Snow rules about the whole the runtime. I'm surprised it's as long as it is, but apparently there was a 4-hour cut of this movie that we're probably never going to see. But I'm fine with it. People are saying it's too long. You haven't seen the movie, so you can't say the movie's too long if you haven't seen it yet. That's just me.
Yeah, I agree, because again, for everything. Again, I listen. Label me a Snyder, whatever, and so on. Because I do love Zack Snyder. I love Arrowverse, but if that ultimate cut, I will say I do like that more as opposed to the theatrical cut. But what I will say is that I do think it's very hypocritical that people were always like, "Oh my god, baby, it's too long." But with the Batman, like, "Oh my god, it's the most genius idea of all time." So, but for me, like, because of everything that we know, and things some of us may know, but not that can be shared publicly, this is gonna be a very cool Batman take, and I think that's why I'm ready for. Even though I'm gonna mask up like crazy and be like, tell everyone like, if you touch me even with a finger, we will have a problem. And so, but I'm ready to see. I'm ready to see a long cut of this. But like a 4-hour cut. I mean, I wouldn't have been opposed to that either. So,
I mean, Blu-ray release or something, right?
we have a question from Justin saying CW is not renewing shows early due to the upcoming CW sale. Thoughts, Andy? I think you meant maybe Andy and Jordan, because we're both are the host here. So there's no there's no endless multiverse. If one is gone, the other one is too. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, I think we're probably gonna hear renewals. I mean, I don't think we're gonna have to worry about waiting all the way till May. I think it's just that there's gonna be some shows that will get, like, okay, for example, let's say the Flash Legends battle will get renewed next month. Superman Lois Naomi will probably have to wait till maybe April, May or June. I know that in May, because again, I know this. I know that
the upfront's probably going to be promoting their upcoming fall and spring. So I feel like we're probably going to find out within February or March.
Yeah.
I feel like,
and that's probably why they did shorter runs this season, so that they don't we don't have to wait for because we're already in episode 3 now of Superman Lois and Naomi. So,
and the thing is too, like, what they do is they announce a lot of shows at once when they announce renewals. They don't do like Superman Lois for season 3 and then they wait a couple days and go, okay, Flash season 9. Like, they let you drop renewals all at once. So the problem what they're having to do is probably why it's not been announced yet, is because they're having to get all those contracts signed in terms of extensions and make sure everybody's on board and all that, and getting all the showrunners and writers all confirmed. Like, they have to get all that stuff, get all their ducks in a row, as the kids say, before they can go ahead and do this. Because
if that's what the kids are saying now, then I definitely feel old.
No, they're not. But the fact is, each year when CW announces renewals, it's like 10 shows. They renew at once.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of work to get it all done, but that's why we have to wait sometimes. Mason Webhead has a really cool, interesting comment here. Can you see a team up with Thawne, Zoom, and Savitar for the final season? No. It would be interesting.
And no.
I mean, I could see it in terms of a fan service situation, but what would be the narrative of it? I don't know. Because I feel like for Thawne, he wouldn't want to, like, he only fought Godspeed in season 7 because Godspeed was trying to take down Barry Allen. why would he want to work with Zoom and Savitar to take down Barry? Like, it just wouldn't make sense. Like, he would want to take out Zoom and Savitar because they're in his way of taking down Barry. It's only him. That's all it's been for him, is only fighting him, Barry, by himself. And he's so obsessed that he became the Flash in an alternate timeline in Armageddon. He's that obsessed with the character. Like, why would he team up with other villains? I understand Amazing Whip Head. It's fantastic. I would love to see it. But it'd have to be like a one-off situation where it's just for fun, like it's a dream or something. It can't actually be real, because Thawne would never do that.
Also, Savitar and Zoom are dead. Well, Zoom is Black Flash, and Savitar, I think they know that Savitar was not the most well-received villain of them all. I think that was kind of like what made season 3 very complicated to watch. But I could see, like, in a hallucination or something. I will say this. It would shock me by the time we end the show, whenever that might be, if it's 9 or 10, I would be very shocked if Eric hasn't found a way to put Thawne, Zoom, Savitar, Godspeed, maybe someone else together in some capacity that doesn't break the show, but kind of like it becomes a cool moment for the show where it's like it's believable enough, but not.
It would be cool to kind of see like Barry having like some sort of nightmare and he runs into all them, because they did a version of that in Arrow during season 4 where he sees Deathstroke. It's not Manu Bennett, but it's somebody in a Deathstroke suit, and then you see Damien Dark, and I think Ra's al Ghul was there, or like somebody from the League of Assassins was in like this dream sequence or something that he had to fight, or he was like some sort. It was the episode where people thought it was going to be the Question that showed up, but it was some woman or something. It was a random season 4 episode. I understand why you probably don't remember it, because no one needs to remember it, but I do. But I feel like they could do a version of that to where Barry's having some sort of nightmare and he sees Reverse Flash, Zoom, Savitar, Godspeed, anybody else. I don't care. It'd be really cool to have
Gracie.
And then Nora and Bart as evil versions of themselves. I don't know, but just do something to that effect. Show just quit dying. I don't care. Do something productive.
Triple X has an interesting thought. The way that the potential new owners of the CW does things is they watch live ratings, so we could see an end to graphic novel arts they've been doing. No, that would not happen. That's not how they would determine things. What they would probably do is maybe say that, hey, maybe they will say that, you know what, you will get your Tuesday time slot back. We don't like it on Wednesdays. Or they will say, we want to do 10 episodes we want to do 7 episodes in the fall and then 7 later in the spring and have something air in between, but like, yeah, they're not going to be.
I know.
I still love you though, Triple X. Don't worry. I still love you.
It was
Mr. Fernando. Hello.
And Fernando is here. Hello, sir. But he's saying, you see, it was episode 20, season 4. I couldn't remember. Thank you for the lightning bolt. And basically, Lois is on break after next week. That's unfortunate, but at least I get some time off.
Watch Naomi.
Yeah.
Because Naomi will also be off.
On break after next week's episode for like 3 weeks. That's really good. But yeah.
Let's go. I want to go through and see what else we missed. Because it is our first episode, so I want, it's well, I guess we can let's talk about this in general. Like, what do you think of the graphic novel format? Do you feel like it has, because we have had enough since season 6, so we're at 2 years in. So how do you feel about it?
I like the format. I think it's definitely different because it gives us more of a chance to not have to spend too much time on one storyline. We get to able to kind of spread out and do multiple storylines within a season. But I think also too, it may come across as a negative because, like, the Forces storyline, a lot of people were not interested in that storyline. They didn't really care too much. But I think what they're trying to do, especially what Eric's trying to do, is that he's trying to find a way to tell multiple stories within a season so that it's not like to where, because season 1 and season 2 of The Flash were so well done because they found a way to spread out that storyline of Reverse Flash and the reveal and everything. And then the Zoom season 2 stuff, they found a way to spread it all out and make it work for the 23 episodes per season. That's not how
I can't believe we did 24 episodes before. I cannot believe we did 23 episodes.
But it worked back then because they found a way to make it work. But now it's not the same because season 3 definitely wasn't the same. I overall still enjoyed the season. I like it. It was darker, but then season 4, it just wasn't working. Season 5, it was not working. with now these graphic novels, it really changes the pace of the stories, and we're able to get through storylines quicker. I mean, literally Armageddon, if they would have spread out the Despero storyline to like the whole season, hypothetically, it would not have had the same impact, because literally you had to basically spread and keep spreading out all this stuff over multiple episodes, where literally they found a beautiful way to quickly give us really cool reveals and to make it work within a 5-episode run, and it really worked. So for me personally, I feel it's more of a positive than a negative. There are instances where the storylines could be better, but I'm overall happy with how it's structured. I feel like it's more.
I remember Comic-Con that year when they announced that they were splitting it up into graphic novels. Well, I mean, firstly, because I remember that Eric like found me at a party and was like, you know, like, dude, I can't wait. I need to hear your thoughts on season 6. I'm like, okay, I will. Like, you know, he was definitely gay to get this announced. So when they talked about, and I'd always said, because I'm a huge fan of Teen Wolf and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Teen Wolf was one of the shows that Eric also worked on before he came to the Flash. But on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they were starting to do these pod stories where like we had Ghost Rider, LMDs, and the Agents of Hydra storyline. And I always said, even back to season 3 and 4, like, we need to split these up. No one wants to see the same villain for 22 episodes. Mm-hmm. And Eric delivered. And I think that because I like it's like comics, you know, you have a story that runs for either 6 or 12 issues, and then we started something new. And I think it's also I think it keeps the actors more interested, and like it kind of keeps it more fresh. 2, I think it's some stories are gonna be better than others. Mm-hmm. And you know, I know for the 4th story, like I wasn't a huge. I mean, I enjoyed the beginning of it, but I don't think I liked the final execution of it. But like, I love the Godspeed arc. You know, I love that we had 4 or 5 episodes where, also including the 150th episode where we got to do these, and now Armageddon, which was, you know, I think it brought some people back. I think, and I love the graphic. Sorry, not the graphic novel format. I think I don't want to burp, like, you know, that loudly. So yeah, but I think it's for me, it saved the show in a lot of ways, because I was ready to jump out of Flash and stop doing the Flash podcast after season 5. I was like, I cannot. This is too painful. Like, especially for me, someone who loves Grant as much as I do. I just like this. Like, I love Baron. This is so disrespectful. And then they announced that Eric Walls is taking over. I'm like, okay, my buddy's taking over the show. I'm in, and it's not disappointed. But I also love the interludes, you know. I think that's why I think it was a little rocky last season because of a lot of reasons. But I think this, you know, with them doing, you know, like Bar North, for example, I think that's gonna work a lot better. And Fernando, you have a great point. Gotham did kind of split the season up.
They did. Yes, they did. So. Yes. Yeah,
it's really good that they're doing it. And I think all the shows honestly should do that too, especially if they have 30 and 15 episodes. Or like, that's why, like, the only way I could see Doomsday work as a villain on Superman Lois for a season is for 7 episodes. The second half that is maybe, you know, the return, you know, the Reign of Superman saga. Let's how about this? If you guys want to keep sending more questions and super chat and so on, how about we do? It is our first show. Let's make it. Let's wrap at 10. No later than that. And then we. I don't know. I might go to bed. You can do whatever you want to.
Well, I know we're definitely past our time we were going to cut off, and I know that. I mean, we can sit here and keep talking all the time, but I feel like we covered a lot of stuff today, though. I feel like
this was a great pilot episode for us.
Yes. We want to thank everybody for being here and for being a part of our first show. And a lot of you guys are sending in questions now. I mean, I think what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to cover less topics, added more because there's more stuff coming in. But I think what we want to do is we want to maybe focus on 6-7-ish topics per week, I guess, depending on what's happening, to get to your questions more, because you guys definitely have.
I think the reason we went a bit longer because the season 9 thing came out like an hour before
we started, so we had to cover it.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for being here and supporting, and thank you all to the super chats. Thank you everybody who was just here, just supporting our first show, and it's gonna be a process of us tweaking things and finding out what works and how we're going about. I mean, I think the whole banner thing and the images, I think, really worked, and you guys giving your feedback throughout the topics is really good. And we're gonna just try our best to make it better and better and better, so people can enjoy.
So we'll be back next Friday, and we're gonna, again, like Jordan said, it's very, I mean, even as someone who's doing podcasts for almost 10 years, it's definitely the Flashpoint is not the same as it was in season 0. So
yeah, we'll definitely find our groove. But I think we did pretty well. We definitely covered a lot of variety of topics. That's the main thing. We keep getting these freaking bots that come in and just saying some really nasty crap.
Yeah, what's going on? What's going on?
I think because the thing is, guys, we put a lot of work into it won't let me block this user for some reason. Interesting. I can't refresh the page, but we actually put in tags, and we were actually putting a lot of work into the thing. So we want to thank you guys so much for supporting Endless Multiverse. We'll be back next week, and we can't wait to talk to you guys. And who knows, there may be an impromptu stream in between where we just come on and just chat with you guys. But yeah.
Where can they find you, Jordan?
Oh, if you find me at Chainsaw Reacts, of course, all the links will be in the description. And Scott Edwards just shows up right as we're ending. Scott. Sorry, Scott. We are literally ending the show now. We apologize, sir. Thank you for at least showing up at the last minute. But you can find me, Chainsaw Reacts. All the links will be in the description. Actually, we're actually putting the stuff in the descriptions. We're actually putting links down there.
Yeah, there's gonna be timestamps as well. So I will go back after this and then mark everything out.
Yes.
No announcement until CW on May 19th. Well,
I think we might learn beforehand. I think the upfronts are just probably going to be talking about
the newer shows. Yeah, the newer shows, because there's pilot season is about to kick off.
Yeah. Oh,
well, thank goodness, Jake. I'm so glad.
Well, thank you so much, Fake Jake, for the update. We were wondering, because he messaged me this morning about it. So thank you for letting us know. But it's been fun, guys. Hope you guys are doing well, and have a great rest of your Friday. And thank you to everybody for being here, supporting, and make sure you follow Andy as well. All of his links are in the description. Follow him on his YouTube channel, his Twitter, everything. All the links to all of our stuff is in the description, so you guys can be there to find us on different formats. And we'll be here, of course, next Friday, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If that changes in terms of the day, like going to Saturday or a time start, we will let you guys know, and you will see it, of course, in the scheduled event. But we're going to try our best. Thank you, Fernando, for the MySpace. Thank you so much.
I don't think I ever got on MySpace. I think I was too young.
It was really stupid.
Yeah, so same time, same night, same time, same channel.
Yeah, same chainsaw, same Andy. But we will tell you if there's a change. But we're going to try to keep the schedule as much as we can. So anyways, we will talk to you. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye. Crazy.
I knew you